Welcome to Conversations with Verdel Jones. I'm your host, Verdel Jones, and being an educator at heart, I'm dedicated to sharing conversations that inform and enlighten in the hopes that you learn something you may not have known. I'm so excited that you decided to join us today. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Conversations with Verdel Jones. So we have, like I said, we always have a great show. We always have great guests with great conversations. And today I have the pleasure of having a conversation with Heather Schultz. Now, she's an accomplished woman. She's a lecturer at Baruch College. She is also a certified Usui Reiki master. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So I don't want to, go on and on. I want to bring Heather in. So Heather, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for inviting me on your show, Verdel. I'm very happy to be here.
Good. So we kind of met through my daughter, Maya, and she told me all about you, and she just loves, the conversations that you have and all the work that you do. And, and I was excited to have you on. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So let's get right into it. Now, during the season that we all are in, I think it's so important for, for us to really think about self-care. And we hear about self-care all the time. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But I know you're also a Reiki, Usui Reiki master. And I would imagine that would tie into some of that self-care as well. But you also own your own company called Ha Healing Hub, LLC. So you got a lot going on, which is awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your company and what your company does.
Last year, I founded my Reiki practice, Ha Healing Hub. And Ha is my Korean last name. So a little context. I was born in Seoul, in South Korea on July 4th, 1984. And I was adopted when I was 4 months old. And I grew up in Long Island. I started my spiritual journey in 2012. My Reiki master teacher, her name is Lily Rubenstein, and she is the founder of the Center of Inner Wisdom. And I attended her monthly healing circles. And during those monthly healing circles, that's when I learned about Reiki. And I had some Reiki sessions. And these sessions really helped me dive into some of the wounds that I have had with me since I was a child, which mainly stemmed from my adoption and feelings of abandonment and unworthiness.
Wow. Yeah. And, I think everybody that, is adopted has their own journey and their own story and process. And, you're grateful for your parents that you have, but there's always, I hear a lot of stories about that. So that in itself is really a conversation. And, you said that kind of led you to your own journey. So what is of healing? So what is a Reiki master? Like what does that mean for people who don't know what that is?
So let me define Reiki first. Reiki is a Japanese energy healing technique that promotes harmony and peace to our bodies on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. It also helps alleviate anxiety and stress. And during these tumultuous times that we're living in right now, it is a great energy modality to turn to, because I believe the most important relationship that you have is with yourself. So let me break up Reiki. The Rei in Reiki, R-E-I, is spiritual wisdom. The Ki, K-I, is life force energy. When Ki, the life force energy, is able to move freely throughout our bodies, we're able to manifest our dreams and embrace our power. But when the Ki is blocked and is not able to circulate throughout our bodies, that's when we're more prone to illnesses. We also need to be mindful of our thoughts. if we have negative and disempowering thoughts about ourselves that are circulating in our minds 24/7, that also can manifest in physical diseases in our body. So it's really important to take care of ourselves on all 4 levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. To become a Reiki practitioner, there are 3 levels. There is Reiki 1 level, and I became a Reiki 1 in 2016, and I became a Reiki 2 practitioner in 2017, and Reiki master in 2018.
Nice.
And when I started, I had so much resistance because I didn't think that I was worthy of this beautiful gift. And my teacher, Lily, she saw my potential, but it really took me a while to get comfortable and own who I am and understand my purpose. And I was so resistant when I became a Reiki master in 2018 to open my own business. And I did that the following year in 2019. So in order to achieve these different levels of Reiki 1, 2, and Reiki master, you need to be attuned by another Reiki master, which opens your chakras to be able to channel this Reiki energy.
When you work with individuals, who come to you for, Reiki, do they have to be open to it to receive what you're doing, or, how does that work?
Before the session, I give a detailed questionnaire to all my clients, asking them how they heard about Health Healing Hub and if they know anything about Reiki. And yes, they need to be open to Reiki and just allow themselves to receive whatever healing they need. And before I start a session, whether that is in person or virtual, I always ask my client for permission. That is first and foremost. I'm not going to get started unless I have your permission.
Right. And how long does the process take? So say, for example, I know that I want to work on something that I'm going through, some kind of healing or whatever it might be. How long does the process take for people to see results?
For my Reiki session, it is 1 hour, and I don't encourage my clients to schedule a Reiki session with me every week, at least 2 weeks to a month. It depends on what their intentions are, but I want to have them have time to breathe, because I do follow up with them with the treatment plan in terms of deep breathing exercises, meditation, some mantras, positive affirmations, some readings to do in terms of reconnecting with their inner child. And they need time to be able to process all those thoughts and feelings. So I would say within a month, where they're able to see the shifts. Sometimes my clients see the results right away, right after the session, or within that week.
So it really depends on the work that they do. So do they get homework after they finish with you? There's, like you said, there's affirmations and things like that. So they have takeaways once they have an appointment with you and they do the work.
Exactly. It just doesn't stop at the Reiki session.
Right. Okay.
The follow-up.
Just follow up. So what are some self-help, not self-help, some self-care tips that you can give individuals?
Number 1, I really want all of you to be mindful of how you start your day. For example, when I wake up in the morning, even before I get out of bed, I go through my gratitude list and I will recite to myself or out loud what I am grateful for. And that can be as simple as getting up in the morning, because every second that we have on earth is not guaranteed. And we want to be grateful for that. Being able to have access to clean water to drink and cook with and take a shower, having a roof above my head, my fiance, my family, my friends, being able to do what I love, which is teach and help others with their healing journeys through Reiki. I'm grateful for all of these things. So I encourage all of you, when you wake up in the morning, to give gratitude while you're still in bed. And I believe when we do that, that really sets a tone for our entire day, because when we approach our life through the lens of love, compassion, gratitude for ourselves and others, things that we never thought were possible manifest in our lives.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love the energy that you're, that you have, and the positivity. How do you remain positive? Is Reiki, does that help you in that? And was that part of your journey as well?
Yes. As a Reiki practitioner and master, I make sure to practice what I preach. It would be wrong of me to do these sessions for clients if I'm not even doing Reiki on myself, or if I'm not doing that inner work. So for my own self-care, I make sure that I go through my gratitude list, that I recite positive affirmations when I'm feeling low. And there are days where I frankly don't want to get out of bed. Every day is not wonderful.
That's right.
Sometimes I have resistance. I am human, just like all of you. And that's important to notice. I do naturally have a positive energy around me, but there are times where I am down. So I make sure I start elevating myself with some positive music. I love Michael Jackson. He definitely gets the day going, or James Brown.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It's so funny that you say that, because dancing and music, it's so uplifting, and it just brings your spirits up, and I feel the same way. Definitely. And those are two great, people to listen to.
Exactly. And do I have time to share some positive affirmations that I use to help me?
Absolutely.
So I encourage you, when you're not feeling good about yourself, to stand in front of the mirror in power pose, Superman, Superwoman pose, and recite these following affirmations. I am beautiful, special, and lovable, just the way I am right now. I am enough, and I am on my path. Remember, your path is much different than the paths of those around in your life, and that's okay. Embrace your journey every step, and don't get so caught up on the end goal where you're not enjoying the process. The process is where it happens.
Right. I love that. I'm going to make sure that I start doing some of that, because I have a hard time with the breathing and the sitting still, and so I have to work on that. But I love those affirmations. So Heather, how can people reach out to you? If they would like to learn more about what you do, how can they reach out to you?
Sure. So you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is at HUH Healing Hub, and my email address is heather@healinghub.com. If you have any questions about Reiki that I didn't get to explain in this session, feel free to reach out to me. If you are interested in learning more about a session, reach out to me. If you just have any general questions about self-care, I'm your go-to person. So
nice. Heather, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on Conversations with Verdel Jones. And we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Thank you for watching Conversations with Verdel Jones. This is our 6th season of Conversations with Verdel Jones. If you're interested in supporting quality content, or you want to grow your brand, make sure you visit our website at verdeljones.com to get more information on how to be a sponsor or advertise on our show. Welcome back to Conversations with Verdel Jones. I am so excited to introduce to you my next guest up. It's, I know you all have heard of TED Talk, and I had the opportunity to attend one of the TED Talks hosted or curated by our next guest. So without further ado, I want to introduce, and I'm going to make sure I get this name right. It's it's Nathalie Lilavois, right? Lilavois. You know what? She'll correct me. I'm bad with names. But without further ado, I want to introduce you to Nathalie. Hello.
Oh, Thank you so much for having me, Verdel. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being a guest on Conversations with Verdel Jones. I'm really excited to talk with you in reference to TED Talk. In addition to being a curator for TEDx, you're also a public speaker, an educator, and it's actually doctor. So really, really powerful within our community, and you're also an contributing author to Love Letters to My Girl. So we'll talk, briefly about that as well. Having a conversation with a powerful woman like you on this day is amazing. We have elected, Joe Biden for president and the vice president. Really, I think sometimes it was like all lost, but we have a AKA here representing
or Kamala.
Right. So Kamala Harris is the first woman vice president, Black, and also of Asian. She's Indian.
Yeah,
her mother's Indian. It's just a really. I'm very proud of what our country was able to accomplish. So it's exciting, and it's time for us to, for the real work to start.
Time to step it up. Yes, absolutely. There's so much to be done, and this was only one. It was instrumental, but it was only the beginning. It's only the beginning,
That's right. Only the beginning. Only the beginning. So let's get right into it, because I want to hear about your TEDx Deer Park, right?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about it and tell us how you got started with it. And for those who really don't know the process of something like this, and you being a curator of this, what it is.
So TED.com, which is the main organization, sponsors TEDx Deer Park so that these events can happen locally. So what they've done is they're independently organized. That's what the X stands for, but with guidance from the parent company, the TED company. So there are some rules you have to follow and things like that. And what happened is kind of ironic that it happened. We're talking about it today because I believe it was 2017, I had started listening to all the rhetoric that was going on politically, and I knew so many accomplished Black and brown people. So my goal was to put them on a platform that we could highlight and celebrate what we were about, to counteract the narrative that was being spoken by the past president at the same time. So it's actually just happened that I started that, and I went to look into and investigate, how do you start a local TED Talk? So I went in, I looked at all the information, and I applied, and I was given a license. So you get a license to do your local event, and then it's up to you to find a location, funding. They do not provide any of that. You can't pay the speakers; they have to volunteer, and you also can't pay your volunteers that are working with you. But having worked with a lot of community organizations and other events and venues and schools and things like that, there's always people that are willing to support a good cause. So it was easy to actually find both other people that have done organizational events and other speakers that were very happy to take the TED stage, because that's considered a prestigious place to do your talk. And sometimes TED picks up their guests from the TEDx talk. So it's important that you have that behind you, because a TED stage is a very big stage. It's in Nova Scotia and British Columbia once a year. And that's a very big stage to be able to take. So they do sometimes call from the local TED Talks, and there are many of them. They're all over the world.
Wow. So
started.
That's very interesting. So it's really the effort it takes is monumental, because like you said, you get your funding, you have to, find the individuals to actually speak at the local level. So how do you go about getting the funding to be able to put on an event like this? And like I said, I went to the one you had last year, and it was awesome. It was so well done. It really, really was. And how do you get the funding for something like that?
We ask for sponsors. It's definitely through sponsorships. We go through each of the volunteers. We'll tap into their networks and see if people are willing to sponsor. We provide a benefits package. If you do sponsor, you get this much. You have table space if you want to actually be there. You can. You'll definitely be in the credits. You're in the program. things like that. One of the things that's really important, though, is TED does not allow you to, you can't sell from the stage because that's not the format. And it's also important that vendors cannot, sponsors don't get to select content. They don't get to, say, oh, I want to see this, or to promote their own causes. So it's really kept very honest and truthful in terms of who's doing the funding, what are you going to get for that, and then who the speakers are. So the speakers are really up to the team.
So just for people, and I don't know this as well, but you see the big TED stage, like you were saying, and then at the local level. To me, I wouldn't have known the difference per se, because it was just that well done. It was really good.
That's great to hear. It was not easy to pull that off.
It was really good.
That was our 4th year.
As far as the speakers go, how is the setup for them? Because I was noticing, they seemed like there was a teleprompter there. Do they get to pick? I guess they kind of apply to speak. And what is the process like for them to actually prepare for it?
So a couple of different things have happened more recently with TEDx. We have, they actually have like TEDx events for TEDxers, they call us. So we actually can go to conferences with other people that run TEDx and see, like, how do you run yours? What are your stumbling blocks? And we share information about how to run different TEDx's, how much is the cost? What are you, having trouble here? So it's nice to actually share that. And the last one I went to was in Mexico City. And there are TEDxers from all over the world, and it's really telling, like, what they're able to accomplish in different places, what it looks like, things that have to be accounted for in some places. You need interpreters, you need all kinds of things, and so it's a huge piece. So as far as putting it together for the speaker, they have to do the application. There's an application that we kind of massage each year. We change it a little bit to be more and more in line with the TED expectations and our expectations. We want the speakers to actually provide a script. This year, we've added a component where you send or you'll do a 2 to 3 minute video on Zoom or something like a platform so that we can actually see you. Most of the time we've asked them prior to that, we used to ask them to send something, but it doesn't capture the essence of the theme of the year. So this time we give you the theme. Here's the theme. Here's what we think it should look like based on what you sent in. And then we want to see you. We want to see you, for your stage presence and things like that. So in the background, we have people running the studio, which I call the studio. So
right.
The person running the tables up top, you've got the photographer, and he's kind of talking in my ear the whole time about how to move closer to the, I tell everybody, please stay as close to the red spot as possible, because that's where all the lights are. So the red dot is a staple in all TEDx events. You'll always see that red, to take the red dot is that big thing. So everybody knows the red circle is a TED stage.
Yeah, I know. I noticed all the people in the background. Like, you have so many volunteers, and they're behind the scenes, and they're helping making sure the speaker, like you said, is in the right spot. And you had some really awesome speakers that spoke last time. Yeah. They do the application process, and then they're, selected, whoever's selected. Do you have people, since it's a local event, do you have people from all over that apply, or is it just local individuals?
All over. People apply from all over the country. I've had people apply from as far as the UK.
Wow.
Yeah. Applications come in from all over because it's that important. I mean, if it's something you want to, put on your resume, you're going to see who's going to accept you. And it's supposed to be primarily local, but we always have a couple of people that, if you have something interesting enough and that fits well, and we think that you balance out the program, we'll certainly bring you in. I mean, and that's when they're done. I mean, they have to decide if they're going to come or not, if, flights, things like that. So, because we're not supposed to subsidize any of that.
Any of it. Wow. And what's the benefit for somebody to be, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but what is the benefit, the real benefit for being involved in a TED Talk as a speaker and as a curator as well?
The networking is amazing. I mean, you meet some of the most amazing people because they're bringing their network to your event.
Got it.
So each of those networks is meeting each other. So it's synergistic and it's multiple. You meet them, their families, they bring other people, and everyone that walks out of there has had benefits that I can't even, begin to talk about. People have had other events they've been booked for as a result. People have started collaborations. People have had business and company events, and a lot that comes out of being part of it. And the team, even my team, they said, "Oh my goodness, I've gotten so much better at," you fill in the blank. Some of the speakers are now supporters. We've had speakers go on and create their own TEDx. George Andriopoulos is right here in Farmingdale. He runs TEDx Farmingdale now. He was a speaker on my TED stage twice. And now he runs his own, and he's done Speakers Who Dare in the City, which is a much bigger program. So everybody walks away with something different, and the participants, depending on how much the participation or how active you want to be, you can walk away with some phenomenal networking. I mean, there are people that we touch base with every year. There are people that attend every year. They ask me when's the next one. Right. We're just trying to grow it, because it is a homegrown kind of thing. People that follow TED know about it, and people that don't are not aware. But we try to keep the cost as low as possible. We try to entice college students to come and to speak. We had a high school student this past year.
Yes. Yep. She was fun.
Yeah. I'd like to.
She made me shift my thinking a little bit. She was pretty good.
That's the point. I mean, it's ideas worth spreading. So people are supposed to bring a new twist, make you think a little, creates a little bit of disequilibrium. I'm good at that.
So you have a TEDx coming up, Deer Park coming up this month. So tell people about it and how they can get involved and when, like, I would imagine the applications are closed for that now, but tell people how they can, stay engaged and LinkedIn.
So we have our website is TEDxDeerPark.com, very easy to find. And what we've done is we've left the applications running all year. Okay. And then we close for each event at a certain time. So you can't apply past a certain point for that particular event, but we'll keep your application for future events.
Got it.
So it just makes it easier to have rolling applications, because then we can pick and choose depending on the topic. And we want a balance, and we want a good variety. We don't want everybody talking about the same thing, so we can spread that out. And that's been very helpful. And it's a tip that I've given other TEDxers, as a matter of fact. Keep your applications open. And then people can apply whenever, and then you just keep them in the queue. So on the website, the theme for this year is Fearless, and it's a TEDx Deer Park Women. It's our first women's event. Women, and it doesn't mean it's women only, but TEDx Deer Park Women is very limited time frame, because the November TED Women takes place very shortly, and then right after that you can host your TEDx Women, and then after that you're done. It has to be within 3 weeks of the main event. TEDx Deer Park Women will be on November 21st. It will be free. Wow. It's virtual, so that information will be coming out very shortly. We have a really nice set of speakers involved, so I'm excited for some of those women to take the TED stage. Working with actually a couple of other folks to make sure the platform is correct and we can showcase it the way we normally would. But we're probably going to stay virtual this year and maybe the 2021 event until we know better where we're going with the pandemic. Just to keep people safe. I don't want people to have to make the decision between their health and coming to an event when we can broadcast to you. So
absolutely,
that's a no-brainer to me. I wouldn't do that. But so we're excited about TED Women. We're hoping you'll attend this one and maybe speak at a future one.
I'll have to think about that one. You are also the author, or you're a contributing author to a book called Love Letters to Our Girls. So tell people a little bit about that as well.
That was a new journey for me. I've always wanted to write, and this opportunity came up to contribute to this book. And I said, all right, that's a good way to get your feet wet. And Dr. Curator Witherspoon was looking for 100 love letters to our girls on a number of different topics. And I said, yeah, I want to do that. And the reason I want to do it is I have a teenager, well, she's not a teenager anymore, but I have a girl, my daughter is turning 22 later this month as well. And, it's all the things that I want to say to her. I have always kept like a journal, notebook, and, it's tear stained. And I was like, things you want them to know, right? And to keep them safe and to keep them doing well. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put all of that into the love letter that I write.
I love it.
So that's the one I did, and I believe it's under the motivation or determination. There are different sections of the book. So I'm excited for it. And as it turns out, her birthday is the 20th of November, and the book is to release that weekend.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm really excited that that's the release date, and hopefully it'll coincide. So it's something I'm really looking forward to. But yeah.
And where can people pick up the book once it's released? Can they pre-order?
Pre-order. You could go right to the website. It's loveletterstomygirls.com. You can go there. I think there are a couple of places on Facebook where you'll see it. You know, it's kind of being advertised by all the different co-authors using their networks as well.
Right.
There's other things that you can purchase. There's T-shirts and things like that. So yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. So I want to thank you so much for being a guest on Conversations with Verdel Jones. People, make sure you check out all of the information that Nathalie discussed in reference to the TEDx Deer Park, and show up and maybe apply if we have some, some great speakers out there.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's so well done, and it's a great event, and like you said, it's a great way just to network, if anything else, and make those connections. And I think, making connections is so important. So again, I want to thank you for being a guest on Conversations with Verdel Jones.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So thank you everybody for tuning in to Conversations with Verdel Jones, and we will see you next time.